Hi, I'm Allison Prior, and today we are going to paint this beautiful pink trees in spring. And I'm going to show you how to do those shadows on the path and how to make those beautiful trees and that little, as you can see, that little fence in the background there and those fence posts right there. It's lots to learn in this painting. You're going to love it. So let's get started. So today I'm going to use this Color Factory paper palette. These are great. Just make a mess and throw them away. And it even has that hole there for you to hold on to if you want. And put all your paints there and way to go. Really nice. Yeah, that was only $4, that one, I think, at the dollar store. So on my paper palette I have just the primary colors of red, yellow, and blue, and you can use any cad red, cad yellow, ultramarine blue. They're the most popular ones, and burnt sienna and sap green. These are pretty popular colors. You can use magentas and yellow ochre and lots of beautiful, pretty. If you have a few different yellows and reds and blues, then you can put them on there also, and some white. So whatever colors you have is fine. The brushes I will use today are I always have a Bristle, and I always have a synthetic flats, and a little fan brush I'll use today for the grass. Anytime you got grass or foliage, you should have a fan brush. And maybe a flat synthetic brush and a liner brush. And I just want to show you my little baby brush, little baby fan brush. Isn't that cute? He's so small. So I will probably use that for something. I don't know, maybe not. I just want to show it to you. So cute. So while it's still wet, just take a big fluffy brush like this. It's only a makeup brush, really. You can buy them for paintings, but I find these work really well. And then I'm just going to go back in and soften up that sky. There we go. Nice. So I want that sky, it's going to be background because all the trees are going to be around it. So I don't want it to be too outstanding. I just want it to be in the back. Nice. That's the way I want it, like that. See, I've still got that nice center there. Good. So now we want some pink trees. So I'm going to put some pink trees back here as the background, and I just want to put some pink color there first to get us started. So I'm going to get some red and some white. Make a nice pink color, nice bright pink. But with a little bit of blue to give it kind of a purplish pinkish color, right? But nice and bright. We want to get it so that it's nice, isn't it? Alright, let's put that on. Get some shapes. So we got some pinks going on here. Just kind of dabble it on there. Right? Just dabble it on. We're not going to worry about it right now. We're just going to dab on some shapes. Leaving some openings so you can see the sky. Alright, so just got some nice dabbing going on here. If we need to add more down here, we will. Right now I just want to get some idea that there's pink trees going on in the background here. See how when you first started painting how things look like they're never going to come together? Well, it may not, but you got to try. You got to do something, right? You got to get something started. You have to, if you don't know where to start or you don't know what to do, just put color on there. Just figure out where the trees are and things like that, and then just put on color and shapes best you can. Okay. Always work from the back. You see a sky, you know sky's the back. If there's no sky, maybe there's, I don't know, whatever's in the background. It could be trees, could be buildings, it could be anything, right, you know. But there's always something back there. So paint that first. There we go. Good. So we'll just do that. That's all you need to do for now. Alright. Go to the sides. Set your trees. Good. Now to get some, like to get some tree look to it. So your tree branches and things. Take a fan brush and mix your colors again. And then take a fan brush. Just mix up your colors there. The color you want. And then take your fan brush. Now I'm using my little baby fan brush. You can use any fan brush. And you touch, and then you turn, twist and turn, right? And that way, see how you get these beautiful branches. Gives you better shapes to your trees, see? Yeah. So you got a couple of different layers of paint to put on this to get those trees to come out nice. I'm just tapping. See, and you're getting all these tree shapes, see? It's different, isn't it? Just turn your brush, turn, twist and turn. Look, I'm just twisting and turning my brush, see that? But I'm getting better shapes now. Now, I didn't do it in the beginning because I think you've got to sort of feel out where you want your trees and everything. Because if you're tapping, you could go all over the place, right? You could make a real mess. You don't want to do that. So, but you can see I'm getting tree tops and getting much better shapes now. See? It's interesting, isn't it? Watch. Twist and turn, twist and turn, twist and turn, twist and turn. See, it gives you those edges on the edge there. It makes it look like a tree, see? Okay, so that's better. Now you got better shapes, see? Now let's take our flat bristle brush, okay? Bristle, because we want to do tapping. Anytime you want to tap, you want to use a nice bristle brush. So we're going to tap on a little bit of a shadow, probably some little shadows in there, just to kind of, you know, give it a bit of contrast. Okay, so I'm just going to add a little bit of that blue to my red to darken it up, okay? And a bit of white. More red and white. I want it more on the bluer side there. Okay, so that's nice and dark, but that's a bit too dark. Okay, so I'm going to add a little bit of white, and I'm going to bring it over here so that I can get the one I'm looking for. There we go. See, if I keep mixing in here, I'm just going to make more, and it's just going to keep going forever. So move aside when you get too much in the middle there, and then move out. And if you want that even lighter again, then you move out again, right? Add white and move out again, okay? So let's just add a little bit of shadow color just on top of what we just did. That's probably still a bit wet. See? And then you add a bit of shadow color. Alright. So now you can do the shadows first if you want to, but I find this way you get the shapes better and faster. Alright. Different ways to approach a painting, see? So many different ways to approach a painting. You can start with your darks first, then add lights on top. Or you can add some lights and then add your shadows after. Like I say, that's why there's no mistakes in painting, because there's so many different ways you can paint. Right? Tons of different ways to paint. See how the shadows are bringing out those pinks now? Not pretty? See that? Now you really see the pinks now, can't you? See, I didn't fill in all the pinks, but I made sure that I left a lot of the pinks still there. Now we're going to add some highlights. Now our highlights are going to be pretty bright, so we're going to add some white to our brush. And we are going to, see how bright that is? You can barely see it, right? So I'm going to add a little bit of that there. Not much, maybe a little bit of red. Pink it up, and then more white. So more white than anything. So that's a really bright pink. As much as I can get it bright. And then I'll just add some of the highlights on the tops of those. So I'm going to pick some spots. Mainly on the edges. Got to start somewhere, so let's start on the edges, okay? I'm very gentle with what I'm doing here, just tapping very gently, but I'm putting lots of paint on my brush, right? Lots. Now the paint is still wet, so it won't be too white. Just on the edges for now, okay? Because we're working on trying to get some nice trees and shapes, and we're actually experimenting to see where it looks nice. We're going to move inside now. So we're just moving inside. I'm just going to put dabs of a lighter color in different areas, like that. But I don't want to cover everything up. I want to try and keep some of the shadow colors and isn't that pretty? So we'll take this tape off and we will work on the foreground, and then we will put it all together because we got a fence and we got all kinds of stuff going on here and a path. We got to make it all fit together really nice. This is pretty nice so far. I like it. So it's looking good so far. So what we need to do next is we need to put our path in. I'm going to put the path in and then put the grass around it. I think that'll be easier. So now we have to decide where the path is going to be. So we're going to say it ends here. And maybe here. Okay, you can decide yourself, you know, where you want it to end. where you want it to begin. So let's pretend that's gone around the bend. So we'll go up straight a bit, and then we will give it a little curve, and then it's coming out from around the bend, and then we'll come down to meet up with this one here. Okay, so that helps, you know, helps you get your perspective correct and where you want things. So we'll put some grass here and here first of all. Back here we'll put some grass, and maybe, I don't know, a fence. I want to put a fence, maybe some more trees here. So anyway, let's just keep going and see what we can do with it. So let's make some grass. So we'll get that done. I want to put some trees here too. I think it'd be nice to have some green in here. Okay. So what we're going to do, you can make your own green, or you can use your sap green or whatever green you have there, but make sure it's a darkish green, not too bright yet. We'll just get a nice underpainting first of greens, okay? So let's go with some greens up here. All right, so just tap, tap, tap with your bristle brush, and just tap some greens. I'm looking at the reference photo now too, so I see a little few green trees there in the back there somewhere. So I'm just going to add those. Bring them in around the pinkish ones. Yeah, I don't know why this is doing that. So let's get our green trees in here. We're going to brighten them up now too. I like putting in, you know, some backgrounds that are dark so that you can get contrast going. Okay, so we got some green trees. We want to brighten them up, but we'll add our grass now while we're at it. And just tap, 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 okay? Nice green grass. So there we go, we got it started. Now see, it's all, you lay your bases down first and then you can deal with the rest later. Now I'm going to lighten up some of these background trees, and I'm going to use my my bristle brush again. So you go ahead and use the same bristle brush. All we're doing is lightening. All we're doing is lighting up what we're doing. So just tap into the same dark green color that you made, okay? And then just add more yellow to brighten it up. Just for now. And we may even do more. So I'm just going to right on the very tips of those, because I want to keep the dark. So right on the very tips of those trees, okay? Very, very tips. Got some nice little background trees going on there. If you want more, just put in more greens. You know, we don't need a big lot. I don't want to overdo it. You have to go back to your dark green then. We don't want to do too much extra, but thicken them up a little bit looks nice. That's good. So make sure you get your dark backgrounds there. So I just darken them up again a little bit because I put too much light in there. Just want to make sure I got them thick enough. So you might have to play with these background trees a little bit to get what you're looking for. That's going to happen. You know, you have to play around with your painting to get the way it should be, the way you want it to be, right? You don't have to be exactly the same as reference photo. As you can see, this is not exactly the same as the reference photo for sure. But I am trying to get some nice lights and darks together, right? I'm just tapping into my yellow. My brush is dirty. Tapped into a little bit of my green, but I want to get some nice bright colors here. So I'm just going to tap on some yellows and may go with some white also, just to get those nice and bright. Nice and bright. Now the light will come in from the left, or will it? Let me see, let me think. I think the light will come in from the right and hit off the grass here and leave a shadow over here. I think that'll be the best thing to do. So if the light's coming in from the right, then we will brighten up this area more. So we're going to go with some white too. We want to get some bright colors back here. And there's some shadow colors there too. There's, we're going to put a tree here and a few things. So now we will, with our bristle, make sure it's nice and opened. That way you'll be able to spread out the... I'm just going to put some more highlights. I'm going to dip into white. And I'm going to dip into yellow. And I'm going to try and get a little more highlight just on the edges here. Just here and there. Not going to bother too much. See how the white really makes everything stand out? You know? Now acrylics dry, don't they? They dry really, really dark. Trying to let you see what I'm doing here. Just trying, I've got a little bit of paint on there, just dabbing a little bit to see what falls off my brush. Just let whatever's happening there, let it fall off your brush rather than try to. So what I think I'll do next is I'm going to play around the grass because we're going to have to add the fence and the tree, more trees and things. So I'm going to get some of the grass straightened away here. I think I'm going to have some shadows and highlights in our grass. Let's think shadows and highlights first, okay? So let's go with the shadows. I'm just going to add some blue to my green. A bit of red too, okay? Just because I really want it dark. So, see how dark that is? Look, it's almost black. So I want a nice, because in the picture that I'm, the reference photo, you got a shadow down around this area. Alright, so we'll just get some of that on there. And work that up into here. But I'm going to clean my brush off so that I still have dark on my brush, but it's not as much. And that way it'll fade out as we're coming up into this part of the grass, okay? Because it looks like it's all blended together then instead of a line, you know what I mean? Like, you don't want it to look like, oh, it's dark here and lighter here. You want it to look like it all transitions into each other, okay? And then we can do that top part there later, see? So we'll do the shadows. Just some shadow over here. Good. Now we can change this up as we go along, but I'm trying my best to get this in place. So you get some nice shadows going on there now, see? Now, we'll add our highlights. Our highlights can be bright green, so you'll have greens with yellows and whites, okay? So you're going to brighten it up with, you want your colors nice and bright. So if you got some extra green on there, you can go with the lightest green that you have. All right, and then you can tap that on where you think the light is shining on it, which is coming in from the right. I will say it's coming in from the right, and we'll just tap on some of these lighter colors. I'm just tapping with my bristle brush, and we'll add some more lights on top of that again, okay? So I want to leave some shadow, so we're not going to go into our shadow. We're just tapping to give it a grassy look. All right. Good. You can also use a fan brush if you like. A fan brush would look like this. Right. You get a different, what happens is when you use a fan brush, you get a different stroke. You get a different textured look, okay? So you decide what kind of a textured look you want. So I'm just trying both so I can show you what the difference is. See, changed it up a bit, didn't it? Right? Which is kind of nice. Nice one. Got a grassy look, see? I'm just pushing. Push. So it's the same tapping motion, except you're using a fan brush instead. Alright, so I'll continue on using the fan brush for now, just to so you can see what I'm doing. But you can certainly use, but you see how it's grassy looking? But you can certainly use the bristle brush. See? It's kind of nice, isn't it? And over here we do have some light, not a lot, but a bit of light in the background here. A little bit going on there. Good. I'm going to start adding some yellow to my green. Just tap into your yellow and tap into your green. And let's put some highlights up here, just a little bit, because we're going to have trees and fence and stuff up here, so we don't really need that yet. A little bit of highlight sticking out here, because the sun is probably dancing across the grass there. Okay. It's just here and there. All right. You don't have to worry about it too much right now. Now, here's where we want to really lighten it up. So we're just going to go with the yellow into our green to brighten it up. Right, see how that brightens it up more now? Everything is still wet, but if it dries up on you, that's okay. You can still tap over it. When you tap over, try to leave some of the darker green, you know, like try to not to cover it up completely if it dries up on you, but see, if it's still wet, it'll all mix together. But if it dries, the under painting of the other color will be totally covered. But with wet on wet, then you will get a mixture of both colors, okay? That's what you try to achieve when you're using wet on wet. So don't forget, in acrylics, once this dries, once you go over it, you're going over it, and it's going to disappear underneath the paint that you're doing. But if you move your brush around and don't cut, you can keep some of your darks by just moving your brush around and not covering up totally. But up here, see how I totally covered it up there, see? Because it was dry. But if you don't want to totally cover it up and it's dry, just move your brush around here and there like that. That way you get to keep your underpainting, see? So it's nice and bright here. You just tap it on with your bristle brush or your fan. I find with the fan I'm getting some nice grassy texture. Alright, and then we're going to add some white. Brighten it up even more. So we'll go with the yellow right now. And as you can see, I'm trying to get it so that just, different layers of colors of green. See, I still see some of the darks underneath. Then you got the medium and light. And now the brightest one is the white. And I'm taking the white. I'm not going to have it perfectly white. I want to have some of that yellow mixed in with it, a little bit of greeny yellow there. And then I'm going to pick some spots that are nice and bright. Okay. See, as you can see, I'm not totally going over everything. I don't want it to be all lost in just white, because then it look like snow. You don't want that. You want it to look like grass. It's got highlights from the sun on it. Here we go, that's nice. Up here is a little bit darker, so you leave some of that. Alright, just might tap on a little bit that's snuck in there from the sun. See, and then you can skip over some and maybe have some shadow there. Good. The beauty of having a fan brush is you can take it and pull up to make it look like grass. See? Like that. If you want to do that. So I'm just like you can see, I'm not tapping so that I cover everything up underneath. I'm just tapping so that you can get those highlights on top of the grass. See? Right. I don't see too much over here. All right, that's nice and bright there now. Nice. Might have some faded ones here in the background here, just on a dirty brush. Just move your brush around a little bit up here, because the more you layer your paint, the more it looks more finished. Right, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Nice, there we go. Let's do the path. I'm going to use a synthetic. Looks like a Filbert. You can use Filbert or flat. So the path I'm going to use, let's see, kind of a really light color. So I'm going to go with, so let's try some burnt sienna. Put it over here so you can see it, okay? And a bit of red. It's a nice color so far. A little bit of blue. Now to really brighten it up, we'll add white. Okay? So move away from it because it might be too much paint there. We can always come back and use that for shadows. Okay, so there we go. That's a nice color. I like it. You can always also use the grayish color if you want. See how nice and bright I got that by moving away? Because if I had to stay in here, I'd have to add an awful lot of white. So whenever you got too much, just move away and with your dirty brush. It's kind of nice, isn't it? Alright, let's try that. So just put that on there. go. Coming from the back here somewhere, and it's coming out around. Don't worry about the grass yet. Okay, I'm going to add more white. I'm just going to add white to my brush this time so I can brighten it up a little bit. Okay. So you can't get it bright on your palette because you get too much paint on there. Then just take white on your dirty brush and then start painting on your canvas. That'll help brighten it up without having to keep adding paint to your canvas paint. You know, like say here, like I can't get that brighter than that by adding white. I'll just have to add a ton of white. So rather than waste all my white, I can either take the white and put it up here somewhere, move it away again, or I can just take the white and put it here, what I already have. That way I don't waste my white. See? Another little tip for you. I got all kinds of tips that I'm going to share with you. Because a lot of people waste a lot of paint. I did, you know. I was like, oh my God, keep adding white and white and white. You could be at it all day adding white and it still wouldn't get any brighter. So, there we go. That's a nice little color. I like that color. It's going way in the back there. Way in the back. Let's take it right off the canvas. There we go. Nice. I like it. I like it. Now don't worry about this here because we'll be fixing it up after, so not to worry. I'm going to put some grass in the center. I'm going to use my fan brush. You can use a bristle, it's okay. You can use your flat bristle brush. I'm going to put some grass in the center of the road, okay? So I got some green, probably some sap green, and some burnt sienna. Just trying to come up with a nice green. Some yellow. Yeah, that's good. And we will put some grass coming down the path. Just little taps and dabs of grass going on there. Gives a little bit of interest, something different. Just tap, tap, tap. If your paint is wet underneath, it's probably going to mix in with your green, which is fine. Alright. We're going to put some shadows across there from the trees. We have more trees going in. So we'll put some shadows in there too. See the nice difference it makes? Just gives interest to your painting. See that? Just that little bit. You wouldn't believe the different things that you can add to make it look interesting. I'm just going to dab on a little bit here and there just to show that there's some light going through there. Like I say, the more you layer your paint with different values of greens, or you add a little bit of color, it just gives it, just so you can see the difference it makes. It just helps so much to get that extra oomph to it, you know? Right? Still got the shadow, but it has these little bits of lighter color peeping out, which is what you want, right? Same here, like if you wanted to add a little more just peeping out here and there, but you want to keep your shadow, but you just don't want to, you just want to see some grass peeping out. A little bit of white and yellow, and you can get some little highlights back here, right? So even though we are playing around with our grass right now, that don't mean we're finished with the grass, okay? Once we put our trees and stuff in, then we can adjust things even better, So let's make some tree branches. I want to make more trees coming out here. Alright, so dip your liner brush in some water, and if it's dripping, that's okay. Don't wipe it off, let it drip. Alright, now when you go into your black, right, it won't drip anymore, okay, because it's picking up paint, but it's making the paint nice and wet. We can add a bit of burnt sienna to it so it won't be so black. Alright, burnt sienna and black, and that will give you a nice brownish blackish color, okay, because you don't want it to be pure black. I mean, it can be if you want it to be, but let's see now what this looks like. So we got all those trees done, which is pretty good. So now let's come on with some trees coming up here. Touch, push, 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 and as you come up, then you can start wiggling it around a bit, bringing it right up in here. Bring some branches out here. Bring them out everywhere. Wet your brush again. Yeah, maybe there's another one here. There we go. Oh. There we go. So we got some branches there. Get some branches here. Make sure your brush is nice and wet to get it to move. Just roll it in paint so it won't drip on you. Alright. There we go. There we go, and then we get some small branches coming off of those bigger branches. Right. Lots of branches everywhere. All right. Branch, branch, branch. Branch here, branch there, branch everywhere. Yeah, all right. Too much talking in the background. And we have more trees. Let's see, we need more branches. Like I said, make sure that your brush is nice and wet. See, and don't push too hard. I know at times it's hard because your hand will probably push down a little bit on you anyway. But as best as you can, just try to use the very tip. See, even I'm getting thicker ones than I want. But that happens, okay? But the more water you have on your brush, the easier it will be. See, it'll go smoothly. And then you can lift up on it. Lift up. And take those little thin lines when you can get them. Right? Now don't worry about having too many lines there because we'll be tapping over some more branches or some more leaves on top of these, and some of them will peep out and others will get buried. But don't worry. So don't worry about putting too many in. That's the main thing right now. Let's see what else we need. Few down here. Alright, so we just need to, because the trees are, they're on branches and things. They're not just sitting there and floating in mid-air. Hey. Now we got some trees coming up here. Some are coming in from outside the canvas, all right? So mix up your paint again if you need to. Some burnt sienna and blue and black, and that'll get them nice and dark. Burnt sienna, black, and a bit of red. I'll give you a nice color. It won't be totally black. This one here needs a little bit of touch up. So touch them up if they need them. Okay. Take your time. I'm kind of a little bit more rushed than you are because I'm trying to get the video done for you. I don't want to, you know, drag it out now. So I'm rushing a little bit more than you would. So you just take your time, not, you know, take all day if you can. Take all day for yourself for painting, and that way you can relax. Because you don't want to spend hours and hours at a painting, and then you rushed it because you want to get it done, and then you look at it and you're like, I don't like that, you know. But if you take your time from the very beginning, then you will start seeing beautiful results right away. Like you won't, and that'll encourage you to keep painting. But some people, and myself, you start rushing it, and next thing you know, you're like, gosh, I didn't do a very good job on that painting. I don't like that painting, or whatever. But if you take your time, if it takes you an hour to put those branches in, take an hour to put those branches in. All right. So it's probably come up to here. Like I said, we're going to be putting on some more of those leaves. And you might say, well, how do you know what to do? I know what you're saying, because I know I say it myself. And sometimes I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just winging it. But you got to start somewhere. Just start somewhere, anywhere. And if it doesn't work out, you paint over it, you know, depending on part of the painting you're doing. But see how I can't get that to move? So now I'll dip my brush in water. See, it's dripping, right? And now I'm just going to go back into the paint so that I don't drip too much. See, the dripping will stop, okay? But now the paint is nice and easy to flow, okay? So we get some more nice little branches going on there. See how nice that is? See that? Lots of branches. Good. That's where our trees will start down here. I'll thicken that one up a little bit here just to give it a tree look. Crooked tree. And maybe, I mean, a tree wouldn't be that skinny, would it? It'd fall over. So we're going to thicken that up. I'm using my liner brush to do this, but for the bottoms of the tree trunks, you can use a small flat brush, and that will make it a little easier for you. But this is fine if you can do it this way. Right? Just push in, that's all. That's looking nice there now, I think. Let's bring in a few of these branches here. Oh yeah, I was saying, how do you know what to do? Like sometimes you'll say to yourself, well, I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go with it. Like, how do I start this? Where do I go from here? Like, how do you know what to do? Well, if you don't know what to do, always start from your background, which is your sky, if there's a sky or a tree, whatever's in the background. Start first, and then layer things on top of that. That's what I'm doing. Now, as for colors, as long as you got 3 primary colors, then you're okay. Because if you need to make a brown, you can use your red and your green. I think I have a video on how to mix your own colors, or just have your main colors on your primary and your burnt sienna and black and white and green, right? So about 7 colors or so. And then, you know, you're ready to go with colors. And as for everything else, just look at each part separately, all right? Each part that you're doing separately. Try not to do everything all at one time. See how I'm doing the branches now? I didn't do the branches and the trees and the, you know, I'm trying to do everything together. I'm trying to do things so that I'm not fussy about that fence that I got there. That's in the reference photo, so I might just put a little fence coming down around here, that's all. Because this tree is closer to us, just bring it a little bit further down just so that it looks like they're going back that way. See? So the closest one, if you made another one here, you'd come down here somewhere, right? And you'd make it nice and be really big then, but I'm not going to do that. I kind of like it the way it is. Isn't it cute? Got most of it all laid out, right? You're laying it out and you're getting it ready for the final details. First we'll put our fence in, and then we will start doing final details. So as long as you got your painting laid out, similar to what you're looking at or what you're thinking in your mind, and once you get that done, then you can do your highlights and your lowlights and your final details at the very end. Okay, so let's just do our fence first. So if you would like a little fence back here somewhere, probably back here, we can add, I don't know what color you want your fence, but I'm just going to put in, probably, goodness gracious, in the reference photo I see a light fence there, so maybe we'll go with that. So I'll put in some white and some burnt sienna. I'm using 2 palettes here today because I find it easier to pick up this plate than I do with this, right? But like I say, it's only because I'm doing a video, but for you it will be much easier. You can lay it down and you can sit down and you can lay your painting flat on the table and then you can paint that way. But I'm standing up and a little different for me, so you know, I don't want you to tell you to do what I'm doing because it's a different situation, alright? So I'm going to make a little fence back here. This brush is a small flat brush. You might need a smaller one again. And we'll go back as far as we can see. I'm just going to touch, 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 touch. That way it'll give me more control than trying and go on the horizon line. Just going to go touch. It's a bit smaller as you go down here, so. And as it comes forward, it's going to get a little bigger. A little taller. Yeah. This is much, oh, don't want to lose you. This is much easier to do it this way than trying to make lines with a liner brush. You know, you get a liner brush and pull down the lines, but this is so much easier just to touch, 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 touch. And how you space them is up to you. The fence is, some of it is behind some of these trees. There we go, a little fence in the background, and you didn't have to do very much with it at all, right? Just leave that. I don't see anything wrong with it. All right, no needs for highlights, nothing. Just, it's in the background. You don't need to even know, you know, don't need to stand it out. It's fine the way it is. Now, the other fence, let's see. The other fence, I'm just going to make some burnt sienna. That dark color with the black and the burnt sienna. I'm going to, with my small flat brush, I'm going to try a little fence. Let's say, one there. This is tricky, this is tricky. Tricky, tricky. I don't know, I want to be back that far. Let's go out here. Stay closer to the road, hey? I'm going horizontal, I'm going, horizontal, vertical, vertical, horizontal is that way. So I'm going vertical. Alright, so to see if we can get this fence correct, use chalk for the rest of them because I'm trying to see how I can get this to match better. Okay, so you got a small one here, here. You might even want a small one back there. And as they come down around here to get bigger, right? Make one longer, longer, and just sort of go behind each other and then longer. And that will match them up, hopefully. Okay, so using the same colors of burnt sienna and black and a bit of red, let's fill in those right here. The flat part of your brush, the chiseled edge. That looks okay. Looks like a little fence going there. So I want to show you a trick. I always try to get tricks and tips and tricks for you. Fill up your brush with your brown color. And on the corner of your brush, put some white. And then the white on top and the brown on the bottom. Touch and pull. And now you got a highlight on the edge of your fence. Alright, using the chiseled edge still. Touch and pull. See? And now you got a nice little highlight on your fence. So make sure you got all your brown on first, all your fence color, and then on the corner you put your white, and then with the brown side down you touch and pull. Alright, do it up here, more white, a bit of white here. So now you got a bit of sunlight there banging off the back of that, hitting off that or dancing off it or whatever you want to call it, okay? So that's nice. We already have a fence up here. We don't need one here, right? But we're going to put some shadows in the grass. I'm going to get some darker grass, and let's just see what we can do with it. Some shadows from the trees and things like that. There's not much left to do, actually. What we will do is add more of these pinks on our tree and some highlights. So that's only just a final detail, okay? We got most of the main painting done. So I'm just going to add some dark greens to my green. And I'm going to add a little bit of red so I can get a little bit of red to my green so I can get some shadow color in here. And you can use your fan brush again. Alright. So I used the wrong brush. So let's get the fan brush out. So let's start that over again. You can use a fan brush, or you can use a bristle brush, but a smaller one, right? Either one. As long as they're bristle. And then you can dip into some of your darker green, add a bit of red to your green, darken it up, and then we're going to put some shadows in here. So if you use this brush, you just tap it on like that, and you'll get some shadows, see? And that will bring out the lighter greens, alright? If you use your fan brush, you should get basically the same results, but you use the corner of your brush instead, okay? Because if you use the brush, it's going to be fine, because you can pull up some grass too, like this, right? If you want to do it that way. I'm just going to tap in a few darks here. I'm going to go back here. And there we go. See? Now you could, sometimes you can put your darks on first and then your lights after. And in some cases, better put the lights on first and then the darks in after. So, like I said, there's no right or wrong way. It's just the way you want to do it yourself and what works best for you, okay? See how the shadows kind of, you know, give it that deep it brings out the lighter colors. Like whatever's left over on your brush, you can tap in a few of the darker colors into this grass here, just so that you can get that yellows and light greens to stand out. See? Just get them to stand out. Always think about contrast the best way you can. You know, sometimes you don't need it, but a lot of times it really helps. It really, see how everything's jumping out more now? Isn't that nice? All right, good, 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 good. Now let's put some shadow. Well, let's see, what can we put here? So take your fan brush or your flat bristle or whatever brush you're comfortable with. For this part here, brush is not too concerning, but I like to use my, because whenever I want texture, I want to tap, I always use my bristle, okay? Just using burnt sienna with some white, just tapping into it so I get sort of not totally mixed, but as you can see. All right, and then I'm just going to clean up these edges here, right here, and I'm going to tap on some of that color on the edge here as an edge to our grass. Like I said, these are your final details now. Some more over here. You can scrub them on if you'd rather. Don't have to do everything the way I do it. All right. There we go. And good. Good. Just trying to get a little bit of texture there. And I'm going to take my flat synthetic brush. That should be good. You can experiment with your brushes. If I say take a synthetic brush and you rather use a fan brush or something, go ahead. I'm just going to put some shadow across the road. Now, I don't want to cover everything up that I just did, so I'm going to make a transparent shadow, okay? So I'm going to use purplish color first, all right? Purple. Shadows purples are great for shadows, all right? And because there's some green in the grass and things, I'm just going to add a bit of green to it. So I got a purplish greenish color. Beautiful for shadows, all right? And then I'm going to take that color and I'm going to see, there's a lot on my brush, so you can either wipe off your brush or you can move to the side, and then you're going to get some white because we want to brighten them up a little tiny bit, not much. And then we are going to, maybe darker. Yeah, this is not bad here. This is better. That's a bit too light. And then we're going to dip into water. We're going to water that down so that you can see through it. See that? See how transparent it is now because I watered it down? See that? Alright, so I watered it down. You can even put in a little jug or something if you rather. And then I'm going to take some grass, some shadows from the trees, and I'm going to go across the road. We're just going to put in some shadows. Okay, just go right across the road. And we will get some shadows in here. And that way you'll be able to see what's underneath. Just put some shadows going across the road and up over the hill. Well, not up over the hill. You can make it look like a little hill by doing that. Look. Get more water and tap it off in your tissue. That way you don't have to pick up any more color for now. Okay? See, you want to see through it. Get some more here. Some off this tree. Off these trees. And here we got some shadow underneath the trees. But see, you're not messing up what you did underneath. You know what I'm saying? So it's a glaze, all right? This is what glazes are wonderful for this kind of stuff. Shadows and wanting to keep seeing things underneath. So you can see a road underneath there. Try to stay horizontal. Alright, now I'm kind of wiggling my brush. Wiggle, wiggle. Right, and it gets nice and shadowy down here. There must be trees over there somewhere. If you lose it, you go back and get more. Nice and watery. Make sure it's nice and watery. See how you can still see underneath it? Branches and things going on there. And here. See all those nice shadows? Isn't that pretty? So stay horizontal when you're going over. Don't be tempted to go diagonal, okay? Some shadows going up over that little hill there from the trees. Now just get a flat brush out. We're going to do some final details now. And pick up some of your light color white with a little bit of the burnt sienna mixed in, or any color. And just with the chiseled edge of your brush, just take the edge of that tree and just add a little bit of highlight, okay? The sun is coming in from the right, so it's going to hit off the right side of the trees. It's hitting off the back of those trees. It's causing some shadows to go across the road. It's probably hitting off the posts there on this side. So you have to actually be there. So right now it's in your imagination where that sun is hitting. But as long as you know what side it's coming from, so that you can put it on your trees and put it in the proper places in most of the painting, okay? Because some of the painting you may not know exactly where the sun is hitting. I'm just going to throw in a few little extra. Just some little extra ones coming out a little further, just so I can bring over a few more extra ones over here. Not too much, just enough to show where I might want some extra ones, right? Should be okay. Just a little bit here, a little bit there. Down here, I'm going to shade that down a little bit. See, all these things you can do, like I said, I find them a little bit too white, you know, a little bit. Certain things that you don't like, you know, after you do it, you can fix it, you know what I mean? Like, just fix it. So let's go and take a bristle brush or a fan brush, and let's get some pinkish color going on here. All right, some red and white and a little touch of yellow. And we'll add a little touch of yellow this time and some more white. Lots of white. I want to really brighten that up. I think this should do it for now. And because I want to make it nice and pink, I don't want it too yellow, right? So I want to make sure that it's not too yellow. So, you know, if you get too yellow, just add a little more red and a little more white. But a little bit of yellow, but not enough to make it orangey, too orangey. So we will add a few more of these leaves. I'm tapping very gently this time, okay? I'm just tapping. I'm bringing some out here, and I'm tapping gently on top of what I already did. And I'm going to add a little more white to my paint. So really want to get some nice bright ones going on here. I can see them in the reference photo. See, the reference photo helps. It's helping. But doesn't mean I got to do what just because it's there, okay? But if I think it's going to be an asset to my painting, then I will use it. All right? really helps a lot to have a reference photo. Alright, so over here, just tapping. A little bit on top of what I already did. Get more white. When you go to reload, go into white first. And then go into some of your pinks. And look how bright that is. It's pretty, isn't it? Because the sun is back here. We're going to lighten that up a bit more now so we can see that it's lightening up. The light is coming in and hitting off some of these areas. I'm saying it's coming in from over here, so we'll put most of the light on this side to make it look like the sun is shining from back behind that tree, maybe. Okay, so more white, a little bit of red. I really don't want it to be too orangey, but the yellow is kind of nice. Don't want to ruin it. It's nice, isn't it? Some more down here. Top of those. Now the brightest ones are going to be on the end of the trees, right here, right, like we just did. And see how the white really stands out? So we're going to add pure white on our brush. Even though our brush is dirty, it's okay with the yellows and the reds, but I want to add pure white on top of what I have, just to see if I can really brighten it up. All right. Good. So that's pretty, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some more branches down here, but a little darker, because I want to keep the brights at the top. Alright, so I'm going to use the same brush, and to get the darker pink, I'm going to add my red and some blue, give it a purplish look, and that way it'll darken it to the darker color. And I'm going to add a little bit of green because there's some green in there, and a little more red and a little bit of white, maybe even a little bit of yellow. It's good to experiment with all your colors. It's nice colors. Look at all the colors. Look, isn't that nice? So that shows you that there's, you know, there's trees there, background trees and things. So we'll just put a little bit of that on there. That'll give us some contrast too, right? Not too much, just little taps. A little bit here. A little bit of contrast. That's what I'm after right now. Right. See that? See how it makes it stand out? Right? Nice. Very nice. Now what else can I do with that? Probably a little bit of clean brush. Just tap around it so that it's blending in a little bit more, because I'm looking back at it. When I look at it, it looks like it's just blobs of green. So I'm going to tap over those blobs of green while they're still wet and move them around a little bit, soften them up. That's better. That's better. Blends in more better with the trees and things. Yeah, you don't want blobs. Always think of, you know, keeping your painting soft. Maybe a little bit here. Nice. I'm gonna add a little bit of white and yellow. Just to give it a little bit of highlights here. Brighten it up a little bit there by the fence. The rest is a bit dark. Nice. See, as you layer the paint, see how when you layer it, things kind of, they jump out more at you, you know? It gives you a nice look to it. More layers, the better. But you got to do them so that you're not covering up everything. They have to be on top of each other and away from, so that you get to keep a lot of your colors. Probably not making any sense to you right now. So what I'm trying to do here now is I'm looking at it. These are my final details, so I can do whatever I want with it, and I can spend many hours just playing around with it. But you don't want to, you know, mess it up. So I'm just adding a few more little pink ones here, back here, kind of off into the distance. I think I like to have a couple more here. A little more white on top of that pink I just picked up. Just trying to get a jump out at me, that's all. Just try to make it pop. Some little whites going on down here. In here. Could be light from the sky. When I give you the reference photo now, you'll see where I'm getting these lights and things, where I'm putting things. You'll be able to see where I came up with it. So I'm going in between the trees. Alright, so the light is shining through the trees in some places. So that's why I'm trying to brighten it up a little bit in between the trees there. Good. I'm just going to add a bit of that nice color that I made earlier. I'm just going to tap over. Let's see. This should do it. It's pretty, isn't it? Nice shadows. Nice little fence. Nothing fancy. And I think that's almost about it. I just got to fix some grass now growing up around these trees here. You can put a few little flowers there if you wanted to. Maybe put a few little white, I don't know, things going on there. Let me see. I'm going to take my fan brush. Now you can use a flat brush if you want. And I'm going to take some more of my yellow and white. Yellow and white. Just mixed a bit of white and yellow together, and I'm going to tap on a bit of this grassy looking color. I want it nice and bright. And I want to make it look like it's coming down. So I'm going down over the hill here. I want to get it nice and bright here. Tapping on some highlights. And that kind of makes the grass here look a little thicker. Just tap over it with some light grass, okay? You still got to keep all your shadows and everything, so you never touch that. Some more grass going on here. Trying to bring it together a little bit better. You can add a little bit of green to that too if you want that little bit of green, make it kind of a really bright green color. Mostly yellow and white, okay, and then the rest you can. Nice and bright down here is what I can see in the reference photo. Now in the reference photo, there's two gates there. You can put them in if you want to. I just didn't want to. I don't know, I just want to do something a bit different. So you can see that I'm changing up the reference photo. This is a good lesson to show you how you can look at a reference photo but not go exactly by what the reference photo is, right? You know, like reference photos are there just to give you ideas and help you put things in place and things like that, but you can do whatever you want. See that? It's nice and bright there now, isn't it? Right. And a little bit of brightness going on here, maybe. A little bit going on over here. I'm trying to get some little bit of light areas, nothing too much. There we go. Just laid a little bit on the edge here, that's all. Maybe it's a little bit of light coming in here somewhere. Sneaking in there somewhere. It's nice, isn't it? See how a little bit of light sneaks in around different places, even up here. Good. Now, I'm going to take my liner brush and I'll make a few little long grasses. So get your green, your yellow, and your white. Add a little bit of red to it. Just trying to get a nice color of green. There's a nice color of green. A little bit of red and green. And then you can add your yellow. Right? And you can add yellow to it. And then you can add white. You got a really pretty green. And then you can add some grasses going up around the trees there. Right. There's some back here. And take some white. Add a few little dabs of white into the grass here, as if just little bits of grass. Little bits of white here and there really spruces it up. And where do you think the sun is shining in here, maybe? Messed that up a little bit, but that's okay. See how it stands out? Now you take, you know what we're going to do now? We are going to do, I think, final little bits of white, and I think we're going to do it with our magic brush. You say, what? Magic brush? I'll show you now. Yes, my magic brush. I've shown you this before, but I didn't call it my magic brush. Everything I do is magic now. So it's one of these 1-inch or 2-inch brushes that have those nice long, see how they're separated and they're long. And these are great for making little dabs of paint. It could be snow, it could be stars, it could be what we're going to do now. So, and this is I call it your booster shot to your painting. So I just wet my brush so I can separate them even more. I'm using a 1-inch, all right? It's called a chip brush, actually. I'm going into pure white, and you will see that they're all separated. See? Now when you tap on here, you're going to get all these, instead of having to use one little liner brush and tap all day long, you can just tap like that. See? You get all these beautiful little dots of white everywhere you want them. And that gives you a booster shot. Really makes everything stand out. So I'm just tapping in like that, very gently, getting enough paint on the top, and very gently I'm just tapping. Right, see that? Nice, hey? And if that was a snowy scene, you could use that for snow. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? You could even do some on top of here. But this is not snow, this is just light. So it's hard to see where the two in the reference photo, but you can add them wherever you want. But don't overdo it, because if you overdo it, then it'll overpower your painting. Okay, because I'm kind of, you know what I'm like now. I overdo it sometimes because I get carried away. So I'm just going to add a bit of grassy highlights here. Just not too much, just enough to say there's a bit of. You spread them out enough, then you can put, you can put enough on without having to put on too many. Just add a little bit around your tree there. Just using the corner of my brush so I won't put too much on. And a little bit here. Corner of my brush just to get them so they don't look too overpowering. Probably a little bit around the fence. A little bit, I'm going to use the corner of my brush so I don't get too many. That's it. That's it, I think. A little bit on top of here. But you can see though, you know, that how it just really makes the painting jump, doesn't it? These little specks of white. What a difference, you know? All these little pieces of white, and it's pretty nice. Now you can do anything else you want with it. You can have somebody walking up the path. You can have whatever you want. You put some birds in the sky if you want. But that's pretty nice. I think I'm going to leave that. That's really nice. Alright, I hope you enjoyed this today. And if you did, let me know in the comment section. And if you have any ideas what else we can do. I am going to do a couple Christmas paintings now, so because it's getting close to Christmas for you. And anything else that you can think of. So I hope you enjoyed this. You can like and subscribe if you haven't already. And I really appreciate you watching my video. Just let me know in the comments if you liked it, if it helped you. And that's about it for now. So I will see you in the next video. Bye from Allison Prior.